For a brief moment after my last breath, my spirit hovered in midair. I heard my mother-in-law plop down on the floor, wailing that the doctor had killed her precious golden grandson. She had always believed the child in my womb was a girl. I watched Theo Jong clutching my lifeless body, weeping uncontrollably, his tears and snot smearing all over my face, watching Mom rush over, cry her heart out, then join Grandma in dragging the doctor around, demanding the hospital pay $1 million in compensation. $1 million. Turns out my life is worth that much. A voice echoed in my ear, it's time for you to reincarnate, but I really can't accept it. Why has my life come to this point? Do you want to live again? Yes, I do. Consciousness plunged abruptly into darkness. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the age of 15. The village loudspeaker was broadcasting, although SARS has not yet affected our city for the time being, but Theo Jong, wearing bell-bottoms, stopped me at the village entrance. Lila, I heard you're also going to vocational school. His young and naive face gave me a sudden fright. I turned and ran straight home. After a few steps, I turned back and slapped him. I'll beat the mama's boy out of you. He was completely stunned by the slap. After a while, he finally chased after me and shouted, Lila Song, why did you hit me? What's a mama's boy? I ran all the way home in the direction of the setting sun. The courtyard was lively. My cousin from the city had returned. She graduated from a technical secondary school years ago, was assigned to a state-owned enterprise, later married a colleague, and was allocated a house by the company. From then on, she became a city dweller. She was the most accomplished in the family and held great influence. At this moment, she was making authoritative remarks. Although Lila got into the top high school, her scores were at the bottom. Girls lack the stamina to excel. Once they reach high school, they'll fall even further behind. Ijong High School's college admission rate isn't good now. If you don't get into university, all those years of schooling would be wasted. It's better to go to vocational school. You can start working and earning money in just 2 years. By then, you could help pay for Jace's tuition, and you two parents would have it easier too. At the time, my parents believed her. Seeing that she was about to go on and on, I loudly interrupted, Dad, Mom, I want to go to high school. My aunt was still rambling, so I cut her off directly. Auntie, don't worry, we won't ask to borrow money from you. You wouldn't lend it to me anyway. She left in anger. As night fell, the courtyard was plunged into darkness. Dad scolded me. You're being disrespectful. How dare you speak to your elders like that? I kept repeating, Dad, Mom, I want to go to high school. I know, this is an era full of opportunities, but seizing opportunities also requires a stepping stone. A college diploma is that very stone. Mom turned on the light in the main room. The 5-watt bulb was only slightly brighter than a kerosene lamp. Dad took deep drags from his water pipe, while Mom sighed heavily. Lila, high school tuition costs $1,800 per semester. Your father and I don't have the money. The rice isn't fetching a good price now. And 2 more of our pigs at home have died. Your father and I have no skills, and your younger brother's education also needs money. In my past life, they were just like this, repeating over and over about their hardships. I was young then, with limited experience and a soft, kind heart. In the end, I compromised and went to a vocational school. Then I discovered that many of my classmates had scored only half of what I did in the high school entrance exam. Later, when my younger brother took the high school entrance exam, my parents scraped together money from everywhere, paid a 5,000 yuan sponsorship fee, and sent him to attend the top high school. At that moment, my world collapsed. But life is just like this. One wrong step leads to another. I said word by word, I must go to high school. I'll figure out the tuition myself. Father exhaled his last puff of smoke and said, if you can get the money yourself, then go ahead and study. There was only a little over a month left before school started. I'm going to work in the county now, but even if I work day and night, I can't possibly earn 1,800. At night, I lay in bed, tossing and turning, trying to come up with a solution. Finally, I thought of someone. At the crack of dawn the next day, I left home to catch the first bus to the county at the village entrance. The summer heat is intense, and everyone rises early. I ran into Auntie Jong, Theo Jong's mother, my mother-in-law from my past life. She greeted me with a beaming smile. Lila, where are you off to so early? Haven't had breakfast yet, have you? I've boiled some eggs. Let me give you a couple. A shiver ran down my spine. it was anger, it was fear. Before I married Theo Jong, she treated me extremely well. Only after marriage did I realize she was two-faced, especially when I couldn't conceive a child for several years. She never showed me a kind expression. Later, when I became pregnant, she insisted on arranging an ultrasound for me. Upon learning it was a girl, she sold all the chickens specifically raised for my postpartum recovery. I took 3 steps back. I've already eaten. If you're also going to vocational school, why not go to the same one as my Theo Jong? No, I want to attend high school. I turned and walked away, hearing her shout behind me, "Where would your parents get the money to support you? What's the point of a girl studying so much? Better to start working and earning money early." I was at the bus station, searching from one storefront to another under the scorching sun until I found Feud Restaurant. The year I got married, there was a piece of news in the village. Our clansman, Uncle De, had sponsored several students, and one of them was admitted to Tsinghua University. After graduating, that child found Uncle De and insisted on giving him 300,000 yuan at that time. The TV station even came to interview. The village women gossiped. Instead of sharing some of that money with the villagers, they went to help outsiders. No wonder they could never have a son in their lifetime. It was past 10 o'clock, and the small restaurant still didn't have many customers. I licked my parched lips, snatching the rag from Uncle Debo's hand to help wipe the table while explaining my purpose. "I'll write you an IOU. Once I get into university, I'll pay you back with interest. Even though my grades are at the bottom now, I swear I'll study hard. Uncle Debo, I know you've been supporting poor children all along. Please help me." As soon as the words were spoken, the aunt burst out in a loud voice, "What kind of support, Song Defu? Who have you been giving money to behind my back? No wonder the shop's accounts never add up." She swung a kitchen knife at Uncle De. Uncle De snatched the rag back from my hand and explained, "Where would I get the money? The money's all on you. Don't listen to her nonsense." He snapped at me, "If you're not eating, then hurry up and go back. Don't stand here messing with my business." I was wrong. I was too impulsive and impatient. But Mr. Debo didn't give me another chance. He chased me out with a broom. I asked at several shops in a row, even if they were hiring. They only offered 600 yuan a month, and you had to commit to at least half a year. The scorching sun almost baked me dry. The cement ground was steaming, and my transparent plastic sandals sizzled when I stepped on it. Could it be that even restarting my life can't change my fate? Am I doomed to only attend a free vocational school, work on an assembly line, and marry someone casually, living a hasty life? I hadn't eaten all day and barely drank any water. I felt like I'd shed a layer of skin. On my way back, I ran into Auntie Jong again at the village entrance. She clicked her tongue and said, "Stop messing around. You just don't have that kind of luck. Going to vocational school with my Theo would be just fine for you." Theo Jong ran out of the house with a bowl of herbal tea in his hand. "Have some tea. Don't get heat stroke. In our past life, we went to the assembly line together. We earned 800 yuan a month, sending 600 to our parents each and keeping only 200 for ourselves. The factory provided food and accommodation. He gave me all 200 bucks, sometimes spending less than $10 a month himself. At that time, I thought he was the best person in the world to me. He was great, but couldn't shake off being a mama's boy." I pushed the herbal tea back. "No need, thanks." I returned home, and my parents and younger brother had just come back from the fields. Jae Song said sarcastically, "You sure know how to hide. Didn't see a trace of you all day. My back is about to break from exhaustion. Since childhood, my parents have told me that as the older sister, I must take care of my younger brother and give in to him. I've been brainwashed like this all along, until they used all the money I'd sent home over the years to pay the down payment for my brother's house in the county town, while only buying me 6 of the cheapest silk floss quilts as my dowry. Only then did I wake up. It turns out, from the moment Jae Song was born, I was destined to be the one sacrificed. Dad could tell from my expression that things hadn't worked out. He sighed. "Now you understand that 1800 is a lot of money, don't you?" Mom patted my head. "Lila, your dad and I have limited means. Don't blame us," Jae Song said angrily. "I'm starving. Can we get some food first?" At the dinner table, my parents said, "Just go to a vocational school with Theo. You can look out for each other. I want to go to high school, and I'll find a way to get the money." Dad slammed his chopsticks down hard. Do you need a beating to listen? Letting you go to vocational school is already more than enough. Other girls in the village go to work right after middle school to support their families. What more do you want? Mom spoke softly, also trying to persuade me, but Mom and Dad, none of them got into one high school. Besides, this is already my second life. If I compromise again, then I deserve to be stuck in the mud forever, never able to turn my life around. Amid the standoff, the black dog in the yard kept barking incessantly. The moonlight was dim, as Uncle Da stood in the shadow of the large camphor tree, pushing his bicycle, and softly called out to me, "Lila, come here." Uncle Da handed me a stack of money. There were 100 yuan bills, 50 yuan bills, and even 5 yuan and 1 yuan notes. Some edges were slightly frayed, yet they were neatly stacked together. The dark clouds parted, and the soft moonlight fell upon his deeply wrinkled face. He handed me the money, even wearing an apologetic expression. "I don't have more than this. You'll have to figure out your living expenses on your own." My eyes instantly welled up with tears as I shakily reached out to take the money. "Please wait a moment. I'll go back now to get paper and pen to write an IOU. Debo grabbed my arm. "No need, but you must rank within the top 300 in your grade for the final exams. Only then can you get into a decent university, and only then will I continue to support you." He paused. "I don't have much money either. I just hope to help those children who are truly deserving." Derbyfield wouldn't even come in for a drink of water. He warned me, "Don't let anyone know it was me who paid the tuition." I know. People laugh at those who have nothing and envy those who have much. The hearts of country folk can sometimes be more straightforwardly vicious. Derbyfield rode off on his bicycle, hastening away under the moonlight. During summer vacation, I collected cicada shells, gathered snails in the river, caught crayfish, and used a net to trap wild minnows and shrimp when the water rose. All these things could be exchanged for money. Before school started, I quietly brought a big bag of dried shrimp to Uncle Debo, adding the 100 my mom gave me. I only had 300 yuan in total. Even if I ate steamed buns every day, it wouldn't be enough to last a whole semester. Fortunately, I was quick-witted and went to see the principal on the very first day of registration, explain my situation, repeatedly stating that I would study hard and wanted to find a part-time job at school. He was truly a good teacher. After flipping through my gradebook and thinking for a moment, he still allowed me to clean and organize the library twice a week, giving me 150 meal tickets each month. Back then, meat dishes in the cafeteria started at 2 yuan, while vegetable dishes were only 1 yuan. The 150 meal tickets greatly eased my financial pressure. Not everyone is as good as him. There are over 700 students in our grade. I ranked around 600th. I was assigned to a regular class. Many students in the class are sponsored students. My seat was placed at the very back. The girl in front brought her own tall stool, blocking most of the blackboard. The self-funded student next to me never studies properly, passing notes and whispering as soon as class starts. My foundation was already weak, and this kind of learning environment is just terrible. I reported the situation to my homeroom teacher, Old Lee, but he just casually said, "Then go swap chairs with her. Besides, work hard and get good grades in the midterms, and I'll change your seat." As I left the office, I overheard Old Lee chatting and laughing with other teachers. No grades to speak of, no family background to rely on, yet so many complaints. At that moment, I really wanted to storm in and slap him across the face. But in reality, life has always been this cruel. If you don't have money, then you must have strength of your own. Otherwise, your voice will be drowned out, and your needs will be ignored. The kindness of Debo and the principal is a rare virtue. Old Lee's snobbery is the harsh reality. I must, with all my might, change my fate. I will never again hastily marry, only to end with 2 lives lost. During the morning exercise break, I made small flashcards with English words and stuck them to my palms, managing to memorize a dozen words while exercising. At lunch break, while others were playing around, I plugged my ears with cotton and focused on solving problems. After lights out, when the residential building across from the dormitory still had lights on, I stood by the corridor window and used the faint light to preview the next day's lessons. One day, while helping organize books in the library, a tall, thin boy came over with a red face. "Ask Teacher Wang on duty if she needs a part-time assistant." Teacher Wang pointed at me. "You're late." The boy glanced at me and left disappointed. While shelving books, Teacher Wang whispered to me, "That boy just now is Fin Zhong, the top student in your incoming class. I heard his family isn't well off either." Fin Zhong, it's him, that boy who was sponsored by Debo and got into Tsinghua University. I went to the cafeteria for dinner in the evening and ran into him again. There was only a portion of shredded potatoes in his rice bowl, plus 4 ounces of rice. After finishing the meal, I chatted with the cafeteria lady. Then I went to class 1 to find Fin Zhong and got straight to the point. I just asked the cafeteria owner, she's hiring part-time help. Half an hour during lunch and dinner each day, meals are provided, plus $100 a month. Want to give it a try? Fin Zhong clenched his thin hands into fists. His face flushed red. Do I have to stand at the front to get my meal? After all, he was just a 15 or 16-year-old kid, too embarrassed to swallow his pride. I sighed softly. All right then, I'll go talk to Teacher Wang at the library to see if we can transfer you there. He froze. I had already walked quite a distance when he caught up and asked, "Why did you help me?" "Because I took what was rightfully yours." It must be that Deba split the support originally meant for him in half to give to me, which is why he's in such dire straits. Maybe because we're both poor. His Adam's apple bobbed as he asked softly, "Aren't you afraid of being gossiped about by classmates?" I looked up at him. The setting sun danced on his black hair, the young man's face flushed with shame and confusion. I said word by word, "What's truly frightening isn't poverty itself, but the inferiority and timidity, sensitivity and short-sightedness that grow from poverty. Because we're poor, we hesitate at every step, fear failure, dare not strive, and ultimately miss opportunities. But when earning money through honest labor, why should we fear others' judgmental looks? If you were the canteen owner's son serving meals to classmates, would you fear their gossip?" Fin Zhong's pupils trembled, the veins on the back of his hand slightly bulging as he whispered, "Before middle school, my family was well off. I laughed." He widened his eyes. "What are you laughing at?" "Laughing at how even the top student isn't perfect after all." I reached out my hand to him. "Nice to meet you, ordinary top student. I'm Lila Song." His damp palm met mine. "My name is Fin Zhong." He made up his mind. "You stay in the library. I'll go ask the cafeteria owner myself later." The next day, I saw him in the cafeteria. His face was as red as a shrimp, too embarrassed to make eye contact, clumsily serving food in a flustered manner. "It's my turn," and I say loudly, "Classmate, I'd like a serving of shredded pork with celery, and give me more meat, please." He suddenly looks up at me, a fleeting smile flashing in his eyes, then he scoops me a full, generous portion. See, there are people in the cafeteria. It feels pretty good. Of course, I had other motives for helping him. The learning atmosphere in the parallel classes is far inferior to that in the key classes, and so are the academic achievements. Even the teachers are less dedicated. I want to find someone to guide me. Others don't have that patience. But Fin Zhong does. No matter when I go to ask him questions, he helps me solve them, over and over again, until I understand. The midterm exam results weren't satisfactory. I ranked over 400th in my grade. Fin Zhong comforted me. "Your foundation is weak, and the most important thing now is to build a solid base. You mustn't get discouraged and give up." "Of course not. I've endured hardships 1,000 times worse than this. Why would I care about something like this?" Gradually, rumors began to circulate in the grade. I say I like Fin Zhong, and I pester him relentlessly under the guise of studying. Every time Fin Zhong and I walk together, there are always nosy people whistling. During lunch break that day, I was called into the office, and Class 1's homeroom teacher, Mr. Liu, was also there. Old Li's expression was very grim as he launched into a tirade directed at me. "You're already doing poorly in your studies, and now you're bothering the top student from Class 1. Right now, you're a student, and the most important thing is your studies. Don't fill your head with nonsense. Besides, take a look in the mirror. Do you really think Fin Zhong would be interested in you?" Teacher Liu frowned slightly and interrupted. "Old Li, don't scold the child like that." Classmate Song, "I'm not here today to blame you. I just want to remind you that studying should be your top priority." I patiently explained. I was just asking him for help with a problem. I don't have any ulterior motives. Old Li slammed the table, still talking back. "Couldn't you have asked the teacher if you had difficulties?" I glared at him. "But every time I asked you, You dismissed me with just a few words. You never really intended to teach me properly." Old Lee flew into a rage and reached out to hit me. Back then, corporal punishment of students wasn't considered a big deal. Finally, it was Teacher Liu who stopped him. That very afternoon, my seat was moved to the back row by the door. In front of me were two 185 cm tall sports students. Completely blocking my view, it felt like people were secretly laughing at me, a toad lusting after a swan's flesh. After evening self-study, Fin Jong came to find me. It's been almost 2 months since we met, and this is the first time he's taken the initiative to come to me. Lila Song, transfer to class 1. His eyes burned with intensity. I've asked around. There's one opportunity each semester. If you come to class 1, no one will ever stand in our way again. His face turned red as he hurriedly explained. What I mean is, obstructing our studies. To motivate students, at the end of each semester, the school would replace the bottom 6 students from the 3 advanced classes with the top 6 from the regular classes based on academic performance. I hesitated a little. Am I capable? This semester won't do. Then next semester, the corridor lights were dim, but Fin Jong's eyes shone like stars. As long as you persevere, you can definitely make it. Lila Song, I'll be waiting for you in class 1. This final exam is crucial for me. I need to rank at least within the top 300 in my grade, or Deba will stop sponsoring me. But what I really wanted was to get into the advanced class. Striving for a better learning environment and atmosphere, in the days that followed, apart from sleeping, eating, and doing part-time jobs, I studied like crazy. After winter set in, the weather grew even colder. I couldn't afford a down jacket, so when studying in the hallway at night, I had to bundle up in all the clothes I had and keep moving to fend off the cold. The dorm leader gently pushed open the door and draped a down jacket over my shoulders. Don't catch a cold. The bulb on the balcony of the opposite residential building had been replaced with one of much higher wattage, though no one knew when. The curtains were drawn tightly, and the balcony light often stayed on all night. Teacher Wang would snatch the cleaning cloth from my hands. Go study in my office. The library isn't busy these 2 weeks. It turns out, as long as you put in enough effort, the world will always show you a great deal of kindness. The 2 days of final exams were particularly cold. The school showed unexpected mercy by actually turning on the air conditioning. The air conditioner had always been just for show. I was wearing too many layers, and my back was drenched in sweat. With the classroom doors and windows tightly shut, my mind felt a bit foggy. The chilblains on my hands and feet were warmed by the heat, itching unbearably. I kept telling myself, Lila Song, you must stay alert. The report card won't be out until a week later. After saying goodbye to Fin Jong and my roommate, I took the bus back to the village. The old 7-seater Jinbei was packed with 14 people. Creaking along the muddy road, a middle-aged man smoked in the car, while the baby in a woman's arms wailed loudly. She lifted her clothes and began breastfeeding the child. In 2003, big cities were already bustling with traffic, but this remote small county town remained muddy all over, like a stagnant pool of water. I was feeling a bit car sick. And as soon as we reached the village entrance, I practically fled from the car, only to see Aunt Jong right in front of me. Aunt Jong asked with a smile, Lila, why do you look so pale? It seems you didn't do well in the exams. I've asked around, even in the average classes at No. 1 high school. Very few students get into good universities each year. Many women in the village said the same thing. They said my parents must have lost their minds. Instead of focusing on raising their son properly, they sent their daughter to high school. Isn't that just preparing a dowry for someone else's family? By the pond near our home, Mom was doing laundry. As soon as she saw me, she stood up holding her waist. Quick, quick. My back hurts. Hurry and help me wash these clothes. I had originally planned to use the winter break to study hard and close the gap, but there's always endless housework at home. Washing clothes, cooking meals, feeding the chickens and pigs, plowing the fields and sowing seeds. At night, when I finally had some time, Mom would scold me for wasting electricity by keeping the light on to read, but Jae Song would ride his bicycle around the village every day without having to do any work. Every time I complained, Mom would defend him. He's a boy. How could he handle such trivial chores? Jae Song even rolled his eyes at me. These are women's chores. That day, I was cutting radishes in the kitchen when Jae Song sneaked in, eating a slice every time I cut one. He even complained about why I hadn't cooked dinner so late. Furious, I grabbed his hand and pressed it firmly onto the chopping board, growling, "Jae-song, I'm not your ever-dutiful sister anymore. If you keep this up, I'll chop your hand off too." Believe me, at this moment, I unleash the demon within, baring my sinister, razor-sharp fangs. Yes, I resent him. I resent his endless demands, his hopeless incompetence, and how he stole all of our parents' affection. From that day on, Jae-song became much more obedient and even started lending me a hand. See, love and tolerance don't earn respect. Only by clenching your fist will others take you seriously and fear you. On the day of the report card, I have to go back to school. Mom dismissed it. Why waste money on the fare? It's not like you'll get some miraculous results. Aunt Jong laughed while pounding laundry. Is Lila aiming to bring back the top score in the whole school? Theo Jong ran out of the house. Wang Family Village is putting on a play today. Let's go watch that instead. What's the big deal about getting a report card? In my past life, after graduating from vocational school and working on the assembly line, I finally realized the importance of knowledge. I took the adult self-study exams, completing the associate degree and then pursuing the bachelor's degree. Theo Jong kept playing games on his phone and often belittled me. This kind of diploma isn't recognized out there. I don't know why you're wasting your time. Is studying as fun as playing games? I smiled at him and said, Theo Jong, you go enjoy your show. I no longer want to be the same kind of person as you. I missed the earliest bus and didn't arrive at school until 9:30. At the school gate, I ran into a few self-funded students from my class getting out of private cars. Moo Jun whistled at me as I hurried by and called out, Lila Song, no matter how fast you run, it won't add points to your final exam. The others burst into laughter. There are 3 honor rolls in the first year of high school, the overall performance list, the key class list, and the parallel class list. I desperately pushed forward to see the parallel class list. The cold wind howled, and dark clouds blotted out the sun. My heart is suspended high, burning with intensity. Will my name be among the top 6? First place, not me. Second place, still not me. The third one is not. The fourth one is not. The fifth one is not. My heart grew colder, and I took a deep breath before looking at the 6th name, Lila Song. I rubbed my eyes hard. The sun peeked out from the thick clouds at that moment, casting its brilliant rays upon the world. The 3 words Lila Song seemed to glow with a halo, piercing into my eyes. In just a brief moment, my eyes were already red. Fin Jong had somehow squeezed his way next to me and patted me on the shoulder. Lila Song, you're really amazing. I turned to look at him, and tears suddenly rolled down my cheeks. He panicked. What are you crying for? He fumbled all over himself but couldn't find even half a tissue. Then reluctantly offered me his sleeve. Stop crying. Wipe with this. I wiped my tears hard against his arm. I'm just too happy. So I really could do it after all. So, I'm worthy of such a brilliant winter sun. It turns out, I can have a different life too. Fin Jong put his arms behind his back and smiled faintly. Lila Song, I'll be waiting for you in the advanced class. The detailed report card still needs to be picked up in the classroom. Old Lee was waiting at the classroom door. As I passed by him, I smiled brightly. Mr. Lee. What a pity. I won't be your student next semester. Old Lee's lips twitched, forcing a hollow smile. Mujuan's uncle got promoted, so next semester, you'll still be my student. At that moment, it felt like ice had been poured into my veins, chilling me to the core. Old Lee patted my shoulder. If only you'd scored 1 more point, then someone else would have been the one replaced. No, the issue isn't whether I score 1 point more or less, it's that this rule is fundamentally wrong. But right now I'm too weak to change the rules. I can only change myself. There must be some way to fix this. There must be. I paced anxiously back and forth in the hallway. At one point, Moo Jun bumped into me as he passed by, smiling arrogantly. Sorry, but this isn't where you're supposed to be standing anyway. Moo Jun strode away, and following the direction he left, I spotted the homeroom teacher of Class 1, the grade leader for the first year, Mr. Liu. He was the opportunity. I sprinted as fast as I could, squeezing into his office just before the door closed, grabbing his arm tightly. Mr. Liu, please let me join the advanced class. I will study hard. I absolutely won't hold anyone back. My grades are sufficient. I ranked 6th in the parallel class. I know this is difficult. But I beg you, Please give me a chance. In my youth in a past life, I was ashamed to ask for help. Looking back now, what do a few pleas matter compared to a lifetime's future? Teacher Liu frowned, looking troubled. Suddenly, the office door was knocked, and Fin Jong stood at the doorway, his posture straight. Teacher Liu, based on the grades, Lila Song should have been able to. Teacher Liu's frown deepened. I quickly interrupted him. Fin Jong, shut up. Then, I turned to Teacher Liu. Teacher, I have no inappropriate thoughts about Fin Jong. I just want to get into the advanced class. Any class will do. If you have concerns. I took a deep breath. I can keep my distance from Jong from now on. Fin Jong's expression darkened considerably. Teacher Liu looked at me deeply. I don't oppose normal interactions between classmates for the sake of learning. Go home first and wait for news. I'll do my best to advocate for you in this matter. I went downstairs with Fin Jong. His lips were pressed tightly together, and he remained silent. When we reached the ground floor, he strode ahead with long steps. I called out to him, I'm sorry. Fin Jong, people like us, stuck in the mud, must have the determination to abandon everything and desperately climb upward. Only then can we succeed. I raised my hand, stretching my fingers toward the sunlight in a grasping motion. I must possess a weighty enough stepping stone. Do you understand? He stopped and turned to look at me, backlit. His expression was hazy and indistinct. I understand now. He took 2 steps forward, and I saw the gentleness in his eyes. I understand you. But I'd rather we stand as comrades in arms, facing challenges together and walking out of this predicament side by side. He has grown so quickly, a far cry from the person who was afraid to step into the spotlight to serve food just a few months ago. It made me ashamed. When I returned to the village, Aunt Jong was in the yard slaughtering the chicken for tomorrow's meal. The chicken hung upside down, its crimson blood dripping into a chipped porcelain bowl. With ill intent, she asked me, Lila, how did your exams go? Not bad, ranked around 100 in my grade. Her expression froze, and she awkwardly swallowed back the taunts that had already risen to the tip of her tongue. The next day was minor New Year's Eve. Our cousin from the city came back. The whole extended family gathered for a meal together. Back then she strongly opposed me going to high school, and now she's dissing me in front of everyone. I heard you got placed in the parallel class. What future can you have in a parallel class? It's just a waste of time. At the table, several relatives chimed in agreement. Girls don't need to study so much. You're just being inconsiderate. Look how exhausted your parents are. Marrying a good man is the most important thing, I said calmly. In this final exam, I ranked 6th in the parallel class and 135th in the grade. There was a moment of silence at the table. My cousin's aunt looked displeased. After a long while, she finally clicked her tongue in regret. What a shame you're a girl. If only Jace had scored like this, it would have been so much better. But Jace is doing well too. I heard he ranked in the top 50 at your school in the final exams. He still has great potential. Keep it up. The relatives all began praising my younger brother. Do they really not understand the difference in weight between being ranked over 100 in one high school and being in the top 50 at a rural junior high? Of course they do. It's just that, in their eyes, girls are insignificant. The family's hopes must be carried by boys. My aunt glanced at me and said, one final exam doesn't prove anything. You still need to get into the advanced class to have any hope. At that moment, Dad's PHS phone rang. He wasn't used to holding the phone to his ear and always put it on speaker. On the other end of the line, Teacher Liu's gentle voice came through. Are you Lila Song's parent? I'm calling to let your child know she can join Class 1 next semester. Lila Song is smart, sensible, and hardworking. You're truly blessed to have such a daughter. No one knows how much effort and hard work you put in to achieve such results. I grabbed the phone and choked out a thank you. Teacher Liu smiled and said, this is what you deserve. Have a peaceful new year. After hanging up, the table fell silent. Auntie seemed to be grinding her teeth, forcing a smile as she said, you're really lucky. I am lucky, but my good fortune was earned through my own efforts. Although most relatives didn't believe in me, there were still those who cheered me on. It's Uncle Debo. He also returned to the countryside on the 28th day of the lunar calendar. After all, this is his roots. And he always comes back for the new year. On the first day of the Lunar New Year, I went to his house to pay a New Year's visit. While Auntie was pouring tea, he patted my shoulder with satisfaction. I heard you got into the key class. That's really great. He secretly slipped a stack of money to me. "Take it quickly. This is for next semester's tuition. The extra is your New Year's money. By the end of your first year of high school, you must make it into the top 100 of your grade. Auntie doesn't like me very much, or perhaps, she disliked everyone in the countryside equally. Due to health reasons, she could no longer bear children after giving birth to a daughter, and countless people whispered behind her back, calling her a hen that couldn't lay eggs. Some even urged Debo to divorce her and marry another woman to carry on the family line. Despite Debo's small restaurant thriving, the villagers still spoke of it as, "What's the use of earning so much money when you don't even have a son? Are you going to spend it all on your grandson in the future?" The elderly lady brought me a cup of ginger salt bean tea, so salty. Knowing better than to overstay my welcome, I took 2 sips and quickly got up to leave, counting it at home. Debo gave me 2,100. He actually gave 300 as a New Year's gift. At his small shop, a plate of stir-fried pork with peppers over rice sells for just 5 yuan. 2,100. Who knows how many dishes he'd have to cook to earn that much. I wasn't idle during the first month of the lunar year either, digging up a lot of winter bamboo shoots in the mountains. Before Uncle De returned to the county town, I delivered a sack of them to him. I ran off right after delivering them, but Auntie caught up with me and stuffed 50 yuan into my hand. "I won't take yours for nothing. Take this and buy yourself some new clothes." A major event happened during this new year. A female college graduate from the neighboring Wang village, who graduated 2 years ago, bought an apartment in the provincial capital with a loan and moved her parents in to live with her. She also managed to get her younger brother enrolled in a school in the provincial capital. This incident caused quite a stir in the countryside. Turns out, doing well in studies brings such great benefits. On the 12th day of the first lunar month, we were about to start school, the night before. My dad gave me 100 yuan. "From now on, we'll give you 100 yuan each month for living expenses. You'll have to figure out the rest on your own." I was a little touched at that moment. But then he said something: "Study hard, get into a good university, and help out the family more in the future, especially your younger brother." My heart instantly turned cold again. The next day, I went to class 10 to collect my books and belongings. Those self-funded students are all there. They stopped whistling at me and just watched me pack up. I gathered everything into a supermarket plastic bag, then waved at them with a smile. Goodbye. When I got to class 1, I found Mujuan was there too. After thinking it through, I roughly understood the key points. As the grade leader, Teacher Liu could have assigned someone like Mu Jun, who was at the bottom of the class, to another section. But in order to pull me up as well, he had to compromise and bring Mu Jun into class 1 too. Fin Zhong sat in the best seat in the center of the classroom. When he saw me, his eyes curved as he gave me a faint smile. I smiled back and waved at him in greeting. Halfway through my swing, Mu Jun's mocking laughter rang in my ears. "You're really persistent, thinking that getting into class 1 will change anything. Even if you get into college, you'll only ever work for people like me in this lifetime." I withdrew my hand and calmly replied, "I know. But effort always brings opportunities. Mu Jun, class divisions will always exist, but you won't necessarily always be on the higher step. When it comes to learning, you have to admit that some people are just naturally gifted. Take the same article, for example. Fin Zhong can remember most of it after reading it just 2 or 3 times, but I have to recite it 10 times. The same problem that he can solve in minutes takes me 3 explanations just to barely understand. Reading is like climbing a mountain. Climbing from the foot of the mountain to the halfway point isn't difficult, but to climb further from the halfway point, each step will widen the gap between you and others. I gave it my all, never slacking off, and by the end of my first year of high school, I ranked 95th in my grade. Barely made it into the top 100. This is already quite good. Based on the admission rates of previous years, if I can maintain this, getting into a top-tier university shouldn't be a problem. I became desk mates with Fin Zhong. At first, all the teachers paid extra attention to us. In the end, they were just afraid I'd be a bad influence on him. Later, they realized we were genuinely just a study group encouraging each other. So they left us alone. Fin Zhong probably receives about 20 or so love letters a week. Once, I looked at those envelopes with a hint of envy. This is the privilege of being the top student. Only people like you, who shine so brightly, get to have a real youth. An ordinary person like me, even if given another chance, would still not find love. He threw all those letters into the trash, staring at me word by word. This is not the youth I wanted. Then what do you want? Staying focused on my goals, striving relentlessly, never giving up. He smiled at me. That's what I truly want. Great, as it should be. At the end of the first semester of my second year of high school, I ranked 65th in my grade. At the end of the second semester of my second year of high school, I ranked 49th in my grade. For the first time, I squeezed into the top 50 of my grade. After the report card came out, Teacher Liu called me into the office. Lila Song, you must stay steady. No matter how tough or exhausting it gets, it's just this 1 year. If you can push your current grades just a bit higher, getting into a top-tier 985 university won't be a problem. Fin Zhong was still ranked first in the grade. Looking at my report card, he smiled so brightly. Lila Song, you're absolutely amazing. I went to Debo's shop to share the good news with him. The midsummer heat was intense, and the kitchen was thick with cooking fumes. The pungent smell of chili peppers was so strong it made his eyes red and teary. Good, good, you've really done well. I helped serve the dishes to the customers. And when I returned to the kitchen, I saw him counting money one bill at a time, licking his fingers as he did so. You should focus on your studies in your senior year of high school and not take on part-time jobs. I'll give you 250 yuan for living expenses each month, which should be just enough. No need. No need. I'm already very grateful that you're covering my tuition. Listen to me. If you're truly grateful, nothing would make me happier than you getting into a good university. His eyes were red. Back when my daughter wanted to attend high school, I was poor and short-sighted, so I sent her to work in Guangdong. To this day, she still resents us. Take it, child. He handed me that stack of assorted bills and coins. Just then, the greasy cloth curtain was pushed aside, and the aunt entered carrying 2 newly sharpened gleaming kitchen knives. At that moment, every hair on my body stood on end. Dewey was drenched in cold sweat, his hands trembling uncontrollably. The auntie gave me a cold glance, then looked at Dewey, snorting heavily. What are you standing there dumbfounded for? Didn't you hear the customers outside urging for their dishes? She snatched the money from Dewey's hand and stuffed it into my pocket, waving 2 kitchen knives at me. She said, if you don't get into a good university, I'll chop you up and stir-fry you with peppers. I was so shocked that my lips kept trembling, unsure of what to say. The auntie impatiently snapped, out, out, the kitchen's tiny. Too many people and we can't even turn around. I pocketed the money and went home. The household was shrouded in gloom. Jace Song's high school entrance exam results came out. 30 points short of the admission score for No. 1 high school. Father puffed on his Shang Siniaro cigarettes. We still have to send him to No. 1 high school. He can't spend his whole life farming, Mother chimed in. His eyesight is already 400 degrees. How could he possibly farm? But for Jace Song's grades to get into No. 1 high school, the sponsorship fee would be 5,000. Mom and Dad sighed repeatedly, glancing at me frequently. I was working on the real exam questions from Huanggang, pretending not to hear. That night, a little past 2, I woke up from the heat. There are 2 fans at home, one for Mom and Dad, and the other given to Jace Song. I have none, only a faint crescent moon hangs in the sky, and the indoor light is dim. Mom and Dad are rummaging through my school bag with a flashlight. She should have already gotten next semester's tuition from Brother Da, but I don't know where she put it, so they had known all along. It was Uncle Da who had been supporting me. In that instant, I felt as if I had fallen into hell. Suppressing my rage, I asked, what are you looking for? The 2 figures froze in their tracks. Father switched on the light in the room. His expression was stern. Your brother needs 5,000 yuan for high school. I know you have money. Take it out and let your brother use it first. What about me? We'll think of another way. If we really can't come up with a solution, you'll just have to stop studying and go work in Guangdong. That way, you can support your brother through high school. The cruelest words in the world are nothing more than this. Why, I could no longer hold back, tears streaming down my face. Am I not your child too? My grades are good. I work hard. I made it into the top 50 in my grade. Why should I have to step aside for him? Can't you be just a little bit fairer? Is it just because he's got a dick? Are you even fit to be parents? If in my past life, it was because I wasn't firm enough, didn't try hard enough. But now, I've changed all that. Don't I, shining so brightly, deserve a second glance from them? My father, furious and humiliated, swung a flashlight at me. "Did all your education go up your ass? How dare you talk to me like that?" I didn't dodge. The flashlight grazed my forehead, leaving a deep, bleeding gash, without a word of apology. My dad turned and walked out of the room. My mom found a scrap of cloth and pressed it against my wound. She kept sighing. "You know your father's temper. Why provoke him? He's already been good enough to you. Is that so?" Blood blurred my vision as I gave a bitter smile. "Mom, he's a man. He can't understand or empathize with me, and I get that, but you're a woman too. Why would you also be an accomplice? Do you also believe only boys are worth nurturing? You've seen how hard I've worked." Mom couldn't meet my eyes, he stammered. "But Lila, you'll have to get married someday. Your dad and I are counting on your brother to support us in our old age. Every family in the village does it this way. Your dad and I have already faced a lot of pressure sending you to high school. If you continue studying while your brother doesn't, we'll be the laughingstock of the whole village. After raising you for so many years, don't you think you should show some consideration for us? In my past life, I was too considerate of you all. Bit by bit, step by step, I gave up my own life. This lifetime, I will never yield again." Seeing my grim expression, my mother rubbed her hands on her legs and said, "How about this? You give this money to your brother first, then go borrow some from Brother Da. He runs such a big shop, so he should be able to spare it." At that moment, my anger surged to the top of my head. "Mom, how could you even say such a thing? Even if Uncle Debo has 100 million, it's money he earned through hard work. Kind people should be appreciated, not exploited. Mom, just try to be decent parents." Early the next morning, I packed my bags and left the house with my backpack. My father stood at the door holding a carrying pole. "Where are you going?" "Back to school." He raised the pole. "Your brother needs to study, and you're just not caring at all. So selfish, only thinking of yourself. I'll beat you to death with this pole." I walked towards him step by step, my gaze piercing. "Then go ahead and kill me. Preventing me from continuing my education is no different from killing me anyway. If you insist on standing in my way today, then we're done for good. I won't even shed a tear at your graves when you die in the future." My father's face flushed red with anger, veins bulging on his arms as he raised the carrying pole high in his hand. I didn't care and kept walking with my head held high. The situation was getting out of hand when Jae-song walked out of the house. He grabbed his father's arm. "Let her go. She's meant for studying." "I'm not." I looked at him in astonishment. He glared at me fiercely. "What are you looking at? Hurry up and go." In my previous life, when Jae-song was taking his high school entrance exam, I had just been assigned to the assembly line. At that time, my parents called me, begging me to think of a way too. Jae-song bossed me around on the phone. "Now that you're working, you should at least prepare 2,000 yuan for me." Later, I got an advance on my salary and scraped together money from everywhere to send back 2,000 yuan. At that time, I hadn't been able to attend high school myself, so I was hoping he could make something of himself. But in the end, he only got into a junior college. Looking back now, in my past life, brainwashed by my parents, I indulged and accommodated Jae-song in every way, making him the center of everything at home. As a result, he took it all for granted and never cherished it. But after being reborn, filled with resentment, I never gave him a kind look. Every word I spoke to him was harsh. And I never spoiled him. Perhaps it was precisely because of this that some of his kindness remained intact. I met several elders on the way. They all urged me to understand my parents' difficulties and to be sensible and share the burden. They scolded me for having a bad temper and being impolite. Aunt Jong even said that the most important thing for a girl is to get married and have children, questioning why I bother studying so much. Seize the right age, having a son as soon as possible is the most important thing. This backward and isolated village is truly suffocating. I must escape from here. I will never be trapped here for a lifetime like in my past life. Thanks to Teacher Liu's intervention, the dorm supervisor opened the door and let me move in. Not having to do any farm work allowed me to focus wholeheartedly on studying. It felt truly wonderful, because we had makeup classes, summer vacation was short, and soon everyone returned to school to start the new semester. I didn't call home for over a month. Soon, the lower grades started school. During the break between classes that day, Jae-song actually came to find me. In the end, he did come to study at No. 1 high school. He was carrying a large bag. Mom asked me to give this to you. He handed me a stack of 10 yuan bills. Dad said my monthly allowance is 300, but he gave me 400. The extra 100 must be for you. In the bag were pickled string beans, white beans, and minced pork stir-fried with white peppers, all stored in an old Laoganma chili sauce jar. I don't like eating ginger. None of these pickled dishes had even a shred of ginger in them. My heart is filled with mixed emotions. See, this is what parents are like. They always slap you hard, trying to mold you into the child they want you to be, yet they also give you a tiny sweet date, letting you know they love you just a little. I've lived twice, yet still cannot sever this bond. That day after finishing my meal, I passed by the bulletin board. The honor roll for the senior year of high school hadn't been taken down yet. Jae Song stood there in military training uniform with a few classmates. Someone pointed at the ranking list. Lila Song, Lila Jace, Jace Song. This name matches yours so well, and her grades are outstanding too. Under the sunset, Jace Song lifted his chin proudly and said, "That's my sister." After evening self-study ended, I went to find Jace Song. I gave him all the notes I had taken during my first year of high school, after the middle school entrance exam. I had a dream. I dreamed that I went to a vocational school, worked on an assembly line, married someone casually, and finally died in the hospital due to complications during childbirth. The dim corridor light cast a pale glow on my face. Turns out, over 30 years of a past life can be summed up in just one sentence. I looked at Jae Song. And you, paid your way into the top high school, became addicted to games, ended up at a junior college, and couldn't find a decent job, finally got a girlfriend, but she left because she thought you were poor. Jae Song. I don't want my life to be as miserable as that dream, so I'm working my hardest. As for whether you want to muddle through life or strive to change it now, the choice is yours. I threw the notebook at him and walked away. I didn't go home for the entire semester. Occasionally, Mom would ask Jae Song to bring me some things. I studied day and night. In my past life, I had self-studied for college and undergraduate degrees, but compared to the real college entrance exams, that previous learning was nothing. Top 50 in the grade, either not putting in enough effort, or having talent, or even like Fin Jong, talent plus effort. If I slack off even a little, I'll be overtaken. Sometimes I think, even a small county high school is like this, let alone key high schools. The entire province, or the whole country. I am merely a drop in the ocean. Yet even as an insignificant speck of dust, I also strive with all my might, riding the wind to rise. Perhaps landing on a mountain peak, becoming a grain of sand overlooking the ridges, perhaps settling on a high-rise, breathing and sharing fate with the city's bustling traffic. In any case, I will no longer be stuck in the mire of Mingshan village. Sometimes I'm so tired I don't even want to speak. There are also moments of doubt. Why can't I be as powerful and influential as those characters in novels, even though I've been reborn? Every time this happens, it's Fin Jong who pulls me back. The April night is still chilly. He smiled at me under the brilliant starry sky and said, "Hold on, we'll soon achieve victory." The winter jasmine bloomed and then withered. The little gardenia quietly formed its buds. No one knew exactly when it started. But as you passed by the small garden beneath the senior high building, a faint fragrance began to drift in the air. The gardenias are blooming. The college entrance exam has finally arrived. This is the moment to test the results of my 3 years of hard work, and to verify whether I made the right choices after my rebirth. I was lucky. The exam venue was at my own school. It rained heavily during the 2 days of the college entrance exams. Raindrops pounded against the window, crackling loudly. Suddenly, I remembered that the day I gave birth, the weather was just like this. My cries of pain and pleas were shattered and scattered by the downpour. The curses of my mother-in-law outside the door and Theo Jong's shouts urging me to hold on a little longer pounded in my chest like thunderous drums. That time, I walked toward death in the pouring rain. This time, I will welcome rebirth amidst the thunderstorm. As the final exam ended, I stepped out of the examination hall and saw Fin Jong emerging from the classroom at the far end of the corridor. The heavy rain that had lasted for 2 days had stopped at some point. A summer rainbow hung across the sky. Through the surging crowd, he gave me a faint smile. I smiled back, but as I kept smiling, tears began to flow. the days waiting for the results, I returned to the village. Over the past 3 years, in this backward mountain village, only Jace Song and I managed to get into the top high school. The other kids either went to work in Guangdong right after graduation or attended a vocational school before ending up on the assembly line. The village's impression of me still lingers on barely scraping into the top high school. A girl being good at studying isn't something worth broadcasting to bring glory to the ancestors. So, the women would ask, Lila, can you get into a proper university? If you only get into a third-tier college, your parents definitely won't be able to afford to send you. Aunt Jong clicked her tongue and said, I've always said high school is useless. Look at my Theo. He started working last year and has already sent home 5,000 yuan in total. For a moment, the women couldn't hide their envy, showering Aunt Jong with praise for raising such a capable son, limited by their horizons. To them, the tangible 5,000 yuan in hand seemed far more reliable than the uncertain prospect of 50,000 or even 500,000 in the future. Aunt Jong looked at me with a smile. Lila, you're not getting any younger. Why not go work with Theo this time? Later, you can just become my daughter-in-law. I won't treat you poorly. My cousin's wife was slightly more knowledgeable. After all, you're in the top class at No. 1 high school. Getting into a second-tier university shouldn't be a problem, right? But nowadays, second-tier degrees aren't valued much. Unless it's a top-tier university, the diploma isn't very useful. But back then, she clearly said graduating from a vocational school was just fine. 2 days before the exam results came out, Fin Jong called me. Lila, have you decided which university to apply to? Let's see the scores first. He paused for a moment. Both Tsinghua and Peking University have called me. I wanted to ask which city you're planning to go to, having lived 2 lifetimes. I quickly understood the implication behind his words. Where I go doesn't matter, Fin Jong. The important thing is where you want to go yourself. A mind like yours only deserves Tsinghua or Peking University. You must take responsibility for your own life and the talent that heaven has bestowed upon you. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. Finally, he said softly, then I'll go to Tsinghua. The day the official results came out was a bright, sunny day. On the day Uncle Wang in the village was putting up the roof beam for his new house, all the able-bodied men in the village were invited to help. And Dad was no exception. Around noon, I went to ask him for the PHS phone to make a call. Uncle Wang has a big family. It was lunchtime, and everyone was sitting under the shade of the trees, eating and chatting. Aunt Jong was there too. She said cheerfully, Lila wants to check her scores, just do it here. Let everyone hear. I dialed the inquiry hotline, and after a long wait, under the watchful eyes of everyone, the voice on the other end began announcing the scores. Chinese, 128, Math, 127. English, 138, Science Composite, 274, total score, 667. That year's exam was somewhat difficult, with the first-tier cutoff score for science students being 547. I performed exceptionally well that time. At this moment, I felt as if I were floating in the air, my feet unsteady as if stepping on cotton, making everything seem unreal. Is this really my score? The score of someone who was originally a vocational school student. My father dropped his chopsticks and stood up abruptly. Play it again. I didn't hear it clearly. The mechanical female voice from the speaker announced my score once more. The lively dinner table fell so quiet that the rustling of leaves in the wind could be heard. Dad glanced at his phone, then at me. Look at me, then look at the phone, he asked with a trembling voice. This score. What kind of school can it get me into? I smiled softly. Almost any university in the country, even though no one at the table had attended high school. They still understood what it meant to score 120 points above the first-tier cutoff line. Uncle Wang brought out a large plastic liquor jug from the house. Old song. Great news. Great news. Come on, we must drink a few more cups today, Aunt Jong muttered. Could it be a mistake? Your grades weren't that great before, just slightly better than Theo's. So college is this easy to get into. If I'd known, I would have let Theo attend high school too. Drunk and flushed. Dad beamed with a red face and said with a smile, it's a shame Lila is a girl. If only she were a boy. Everyone nodded in agreement. Uncle Wang chimed in. Your Jace is also studying at No. 1 high school. If Lila can achieve such good results, Jace must be aiming for Tsinghua or Peking University. Hearing this, Dad laughed heartily. That's quite possible. My son has been clever since he was little. Their conversation began to revolve around their respective sons. The midday sun was blindingly hot. My back and forehead were drenched in sweat. Changing these outdated notions was never an overnight task, but I believe, at least today, they might have a slight awakening. Girls are also worth nurturing, considering my scores and following teacher Liu's advice. I ultimately chose Zhejiang University. The admission letter was picked up by my father from the village entrance. He used the letter as a fan to cool himself, turning a 10-minute walk into over an hour before he finally reached home. When he came back, he pulled out a handful of loose cigarettes from his pocket. All of them were golden baisha. He clicked his tongue and said, "Everyone has good cigarettes at home, but they're too stingy to give them to guests. Usually, they just hand out shang siniaro." My aunt brought her daughter back to our hometown during summer vacation. Her daughter is in her first year of high school at a regular public school in the city. She beamed with a wide smile and praised me. "Lila, I always knew you'd go far. Your sister is struggling with certain subjects, and since you're free during the summer, why not tutor her?" She nudged her daughter forward and said, "Your sister got into Zhejiang University. She's really something." I smiled and said, "My homeroom teacher introduced me to a few tutoring jobs, 15 yuan an hour, auntie. If you want me to tutor, I'll prioritize your schedule first." My cousin's mother's expression changed slightly. "We're family, and you still want payment for tutoring. Even brothers keep clear accounts." The cousin left awkwardly. Knowledge can be effectively converted into money. Fin Zhong tutors students for 20 yuan an hour, because he is a Tsinghua student. As for me, 15 bucks an hour. There's another classmate in our class who charges 12. Teacher Liu found me this place. The landlord doesn't charge me rent, just asks that I help tutor her daughter with homework every day. Her daughter is only in the 3rd grade of elementary school. Look, under the same sky, in the same small town, not all parents in this world are the same. Some parents can't wait to clip their children's wings, while others plan ahead, eager to support their children's flight early on. I teach 4 hours a day, and the students' parents even give me milk and seasonal fruits, earning 60 yuan. During the farming off-season, my father works as a laborer, toiling 10 hours a day under the wind and sun, yet earning only 30 yuan. Perhaps it was from this moment on, my parents finally realized that I'm not the same person I used to be. They came to understand that the future opportunities available to a female college student were beyond what they had ever imagined. After class that day, I unexpectedly ran into Jace Song on my way home. He was coming out of an internet cafe with a few classmates. When he saw me, he panicked instantly and hurriedly explained, "It's a junior high school class reunion. I'll be back tonight." I remained calm. "Your own affairs. You arrange them yourself." I turned to leave, and he chased after me. He looked very aggrieved. "Lila Song, what have I done to offend you? Why are you treating me like this now? You weren't like this before," he yelled at me. "Are you even my sister anymore?" The golden sunset illuminated the glistening sweat on his forehead. I took a deep breath and said slowly, "Jace Song, born into a family like ours, in that kind of environment, we can only rely on ourselves. If you do your best to change your life, I can lend you a hand. If you choose to wallow in self-pity, I won't lift a finger, because I don't want to ruin my own life too. If you think I'm selfish and don't want to acknowledge me as your sister, that's fine. I don't care either." Jace Song's expression was visibly shaken. He was breathing heavily, as if countless words were about to burst out at me. Yet after a minute-long standoff, he lowered his head in defeat. "I'm sorry. I'll start studying hard tomorrow." My college tuition was paid through a loan. Mom counted out 5 crumpled 100 yuan bills and handed them to me. She admonished me, "When you're in a strange place, you must be careful with your words and actions. Don't offend anyone. Harmony is the most precious thing in all matters. Spend the money sparingly. You know our family's financial situation." I pushed the money back. "I can earn money myself. You keep it." Mom praised me for being sensible with reddened eyes. Little did she know, I simply didn't want to owe any favors. By not accepting kindness, I can be colder in the future without feeling guilty. Debo privately approached me and offered me 2,000 yuan. I didn't take it. Once I enter university and go to the big city, I'll have many opportunities. Debo, thank you. Thank you for saving me back then. Debo smiled. Me too, making up for regrets. The prosperity of Hangzhou is something small towns can't even come close to comparing with. Many classmates who came from small mountain villages took a long time to adjust, but I didn't need to, because I have seen greater prosperity. I already possess a weighty enough stepping stone. Now is the time to use foresight to completely change my destiny. The opportunity came quickly. Our roommate Judge's family actually owns a clothing factory, but it's about to go bankrupt now. Back then in Jiangsu and Zhejiang, there were many such clothing factories, and the products they produced were all quite similar. Without any competitive edge, it's easy to be eliminated. She handed us a pile of t-shirts that reportedly cost just over 1 yuan each. These simple, unadorned clothes made me sense a business opportunity. That was in 2006. Taobao had already emerged but wasn't yet booming. Only a few avant-garde individuals willing to try would shop online. Back then, there was no free shipping, no 7-day no-reason return policy. Whether you could buy something suitable was purely a matter of luck. During the National Day holiday, I went home with Judge and explained to her father the bright future prospects of opening a shop on Taobao. Early Taobao shops were almost all middlemen making profits from price differences. We can operate factory direct stores. This way, we can reduce costs and be the first to capture the market. The required expenses are not much. Models and photographers can be recruited from college students. They have the time, are willing to make repeated revisions and adjustments, and are relatively inexpensive. As for the designer, I already have someone in mind. In my previous life, when I was a team leader in the garment workshop, I once worked with the company's design manager. Since we're from the same province, we chatted for a while. She mentioned she graduated from the China Academy of Art. Calculating the years, she should be a junior now. I tried to persuade her earnestly, with Judge constantly acting coquettish. Finally, his father agreed. He asked me, "How much salary do you want? I'll handle the operations, and I hope to have relative freedom in decision-making. I'd like 15% of the net profit as my income." Jo's father laughed and said, "If we lose money, you won't get a single cent. You won't lose money. If I still lose money with this, then I've truly wasted decades of my life." Back then, Taobao didn't have Tmall stores yet. We first registered a personal storefront, which didn't require deposits or even offer a 7-day no-reason return policy. In 2007, the store officially launched, named New Life. It was the rebirth of Judge's father's factory, and also my own rebirth. I was so busy every day that my feet barely touched the ground. Riding an electric bike, I darted around everywhere. To make communication easier, I bought a second-hand laptop. Fin Zhong is far away in Beijing, and is also busy with his studies. Sometimes we chat on QQ online. But after just a few words, I have to go attend to other matters. On the night before the store went live, he said to me, "Lila, the wind is picking up in Beijing. Looks like it might snow again. I feel like you're also a wisp of wind I can't hold on to." It was already past 1 in the morning. I looked up and saw the stars outside the window. I replied with a smile, "The weather in Hangzhou is great. I can see so many stars." Fin Zhong, to me, you were once a star in the sky beyond my reach. Why must you hold on to me? I am the wind, you are the star. We can always walk side by side under the same sky. After a long while, he replied, "So you still remember what I said back then?" One day while chatting with Fin Zhong, he mentioned that after getting into Tsinghua University, he received quite a bit of scholarship money. After covering his mother's medical expenses, he still had over 100,000 left and wanted to make some investments. I opened a stock trading app, took a look, and told him, "Buy stocks. Right now, anything you buy will go up, but once the Shanghai Composite Index hits 6,000 points, you must sell everything immediately. No hesitation." In my past life, I didn't play the stock market either. The reason I knew this was because there was a workshop supervisor at our factory who, in 2008, lost everything in the stock market crash and ended up buried in debt. Finally unable to bear the stress, he jumped to his death. At the time, the factory was abuzz with discussions, and I overheard many people saying things like we should sell at 6,000 points. Fin Zhong believed me. Watching the stock prices rise day by day, he asked if I was a prophet. "Do you know a flower called snow willow?" Fin Zhong, "It's cut and dried, and everyone thinks it's dead. But just give it enough water, and it can bloom again." I'm no prophet, just a snow willow that died and came back to life. my focus is still on store operations. Our target customer base is young urban women. They have purchasing power and are willing to try new things. In just 1 year, the store has seen significant improvement. The year 2008 marked a period of rapid growth for Taobao and was also a breakout year for new women's clothing stores. It single-handedly turned Judge's father's factory from the brink of losses to rapid profitability. Balancing studies and work while frequently visiting the factory to check samples, I pushed myself to get a driver's license and bought a used car. Jo's father kept his promise, always delivering the biannual dividends on time without fail. In the summer of his sophomore year, Jae Song took the college entrance exam. He got into a 211 university. His parents were overjoyed and threw a big banquet, calling me to make sure I came back to join the celebration. I drove into the village in a second-hand car, wearing new clothes and sunglasses. Everyone was stunned, including my parents. I haven't been home in these 2 years. Every time they called to ask if I needed money, I said no. In their minds, I probably barely made ends meet by tutoring. The most shocked were Aunt Tang and Auntie Zhong. The two huddled together, whispering. Finally, Aunt Tang said disdainfully, "Lila, students should focus on their studies and not take crooked paths." Auntie Zhong also chimed in, "We can't earn dirty money. You know, look." In their eyes, the only way a woman can make big money is by selling her body. Even my parents looked doubtful. "Where did you get so much money? What are you even wearing? The skirt is so short, and this top has no sleeves." People were buzzing with discussions. In the end, it was the niece of the village party secretary, who had come to visit relatives, that helped me out of the awkward situation. Guess what? That niece works on the assembly line. She had seen me before when I went to the factory to follow up on the goods, but with so many workers, I don't remember this person. For a moment, the villagers erupted in an uproar. They all asked me how I managed to earn so much money. Then, with great envy, they said, "Education is still the way to go. Look, she's already driving a car and wearing such high-end clothes and shoes while still in college." Mom and Dad were beaming with joy. Dad grabbed my hand and laughed heartily. "I always knew she'd make something of herself. Back then, you all told me not to invest in a daughter's education. Now you see, don't you? My daughter is going to achieve great things." Everyone was showering me with compliments. The elders in the clan were emotionally blackmailing me. "Since you're making money now, you'll be responsible for your younger brother's education from now on. Your family's house is too old. You should pay to build a big new house for your parents." I can't be bothered to deal with it. My aunt pulled me aside, wearing an ingratiating smile. "Your cousin has been stuck at home for years, unable to find a job. You're doing so well now. You have to help him out. What does he want to do?" The aunt slapped her thigh. "Of course, an office job, where he can drink tea and read newspapers every day. He can't handle heavy work. His health has never been good. As for salary, just 2,000 yuan a month would be fine. After all, he's a proper vocational school graduate." I couldn't help but laugh. My classmate's factory is actually short on security guards. The pay is 800 yuan a month, with 3 shifts. If cousin is willing, I can make an introduction. My aunt's face was as ugly as it could be, but she no longer dared to scold me to my face like before, because our positions had changed. In the past 2 years, I've rarely been in touch with my family. But Jae Song would call me every now and then. We didn't have much in common. So after asking if I'd eaten or how I'd been doing lately, the call would end. That night, after all the guests had left, Dad said, "Your Uncle Da's shop is relocating, and it seems he's having some trouble now. He helped you back then. So you should go see him." Sometimes, I really don't know how to judge my family. They are selfish, yet they know how to be grateful. Early the next morning, I went to find Debo. The bus station had moved, and business at his small shop was poor. He wanted to set up a new storefront, but he didn't have enough money. I gave 80,000. Uncle Da refused to accept it no matter what. "You're just a young girl. Earning this money couldn't have been easy. Keep it for yourself properly. Save it for your dowry in the future. Please take it. It's what you deserve. The help you gave me back then was far more valuable than this money. If you hadn't pulled me up during my hardest times, I might be working on an assembly line by now." After much persuasion, Debo finally accepted it. He wiped the corner of his eye. "It's really good. I didn't choose the wrong person. Watching you grow into your potential truly makes me happy." My parents want me to cover Jae-song's tuition and living expenses. He refused. I'm a grown man with hands and feet. Why should I rely on a woman to support me, if she can earn money while in college? Why can't I? I won't accept it. At that moment, I realized he had grown up. Excessive favor and doting are like aphids on a young tree. Over time, they will eventually gnaw the sapling to nothing, while storms may batter the tree and leave it swaying. Only through such trials can the sapling ultimately stand firm on its own. After that summer vacation, my status changed. At family gatherings, when there were many guests in the past, I wasn't allowed to sit at the table. Now, there's always a place for me. The elders in the family would scold the children by saying, "If only you were half as worry-free as your sister Lila." All my aunts and uncles are trying to get some benefits from me. My parents are soft-hearted and often speak up for those relatives. Unfortunately, their words don't work on me. One year on the first day of the Lunar New Year, I went to pay New Year's greetings to Uncle Da. Mom looked dejected. "Lila, do you hate me?" We were going through tough times back then. I wouldn't say hate, it's just hard to feel close. For the rest of my life, I'll fulfill my duty as a daughter, giving money when needed, buying things when required, but my heart does not belong to this home, nor does it belong to Mom and Dad. In my senior year of college, Theo Jong got married. The object of his affection was a female worker from his factory. On the 26th day of the 12th lunar month, the couple, dressed in bright red but cheap toast attire, went from table to table toasting the guests. In the evening, a junior high school classmate invited me to join in the wedding night festivities. I stood at the door of the bridal chamber, watching them frolic without any sense of propriety, as if seeing my past self. That day I felt very uncomfortable and wanted Theo Jong to stop them, but he said, "It's a joyous occasion, don't spoil the mood." Later, I chased those people away with a broom. And my mother-in-law scolded me for being inconsiderate. I suddenly felt it was meaningless and turned to leave. Years passed, and the muddy paths in the countryside had been paved with cement. More and more people are venturing into the outside world, but have their perspectives truly been reshaped? I'm not sure. A light snow began to fall from the sky. Theo Jong chased after me. He had drunk too much. His face flushed as he stopped me. "Lila, if I had gone to high school back then, would you have noticed me?" "No, I'd rather never get married than be with you," I replied coldly. "Be good to your wife and stop being a mama's boy." Snowflakes fell on my face, a faint chill. Perhaps I, too, will become his white moonlight. It's because I'm exceptional and hard to obtain that I qualify to be the white moonlight. As I was nearing home, my phone rang. It was Fin Jong calling. "I have something to tell you." I've signed with a major company in Hangzhou. We'll be able to see each other again soon. Congratulations. Lila, I'm really looking forward to seeing you again. His voice was gentle in the night. "I'll send you a photo. The village has poor signal." After a long while, a picture appeared in QQ. It is a blossoming snow willow placed in a glass bottle, and a quote from Fin Jong. "They are resilient and beautiful, just like you." Lila's song.